This week, you're going to create a 3/4 pose portrait. It can be yourself or someone else you know, or just from your imagination. Attached to this presentation is a slides presentation that goes through the steps like individually. I'm going to quickly scroll through it and talk about sort of how to approach this project. So for the first page, you're going to start with an oval shape. Right in the middle of that oval, we're going to create a guideline. A guideline is a line that you draw really softly, like almost just tickling the paper, because we know in advance that we're going to be erasing that later. So just very gently draw that kind of line. It's not a straight line, you'll notice. It's kind of a curved line. Then we're looking at the middle in between these two lines and drawing another guideline. That's going to help us later. Then one last sort of line that's just gently curved. Notice it's not perfectly straight across because our face is not perfectly straight across. We have form to us. Next, we're going to draw a line that curves kind of like a C shape that goes through those other lines. You can see that the left side is much smaller space than the right side. We're doing that on purpose to show that we are kind of turned to the side. Next, you're going to add some eye shapes. Notice that this eye is in the center, so sort of in between the center line and the right side. You're going to draw that almond or lemon type shape. And then on this side, we're going to draw a similar shape, except on the side closest to the center where our nose is going to be, it's a little more curved. And that eye takes up sort of the full space. The next step is to create some lids for your eyes. So that's just adding another curve on top. And some eyebrows. I would suggest making a shape for your eyebrows instead of just drawing lines. So you have something to color in. But of course, your eyebrow has a curve and then a curve on top of it. You might have a different way. I'm sure that would work too. Don't forget the pupils and the irises of your eye. That's the spot that's colored. That's the iris, and the pupil is the black part of your eye. You'll notice over here that the iris and pupil are really far to the right side of this eye. So make sure you do that with both eyes. You'll notice it's not centered. So you can see that over here, this circle and then that other circle, they're off center. They're a little bit to the right. Maybe you have other eye details you want to add. Now's the time to do that. Next, we're going to draw a nose. This is just one example of a nose, of course, with kind of a curved line and two little C shapes for like a nostril. Notice where this nose curve is, right? So if this center line shows our nose, we're showing kind of like the profile almost of our nose. It's not from a forward perspective. The lips as well, we're trying to center sort of on this line. If you don't want to draw really exaggerated lips, a good way to do that is to not draw this top kind of M line and instead just draw that little curve and leave off those two diagonal lines. That'll make your lips seem less full and exaggerated. Notice where the ear placement goes. The ear is kind of using this center curve and then that other curve right underneath. So I guess that'd be like the first and second horizontal-ish line. Your ear is going to fit within that space. And because of the way our face is turned, you're only going to draw one ear. Now we want to give our face a little bit more realistic jawline. So your chin is going to be kind of like straight down from where you drew your lips. So what I would do is I would start up here by the eye and I'd give yourself a little bit of a cheekbone here. So you'll notice that it's coming a little bit away. Pay attention to this guideline. So we're coming a little bit away from the guideline, coming in a little bit and then back down. You might have to play with that line a little bit and just adjust as it makes sense to you and looks right to you. We don't want too much showing on the left side because of the way that we're looking and turned. The right side really is going to have a lot more showing. So now you need a neck. If you have room, you'll have some shoulders as well. Maybe there's some other details you want to add, like jewelry or bow tie or something. Just remember that if you're drawing something that's in like the center of your body, it's really going to be placed over here and not the actual center of that line. It would be more towards the left. So in this example, there are a couple lines to show shoulders. the biggest mistake I see when people draw shoulders is that they make their shoulders end very close to like the width of their neck, but that's just not an accurate way to draw your shoulders because that would make you just incredibly skinny. So make sure that your shoulders are at least wider than your head. Otherwise, your body would not really make realistic sense. So now is the step where we're erasing all those guidelines. So hopefully you were tickling the paper and you can erase those lines that you have. And then now we need to make this person a little bit more personalized with some hair. Here are some different like ideas for hair. These might not even be, let's go back up to the hair, anything that's similar to what you want to do. There's always the option to make this your own, right? And do something different. And then of course, if you want to change how your shirt is, there's some more ideas as well. Don't forget to add glasses if you need to, or maybe some type of headwear. We're also going to be creating some value on this art. So the next series of slides shows some areas to color in with different values. So you'll notice this first area has sort of a light value. I'm sorry, I think that is the darkest value. Let me redo that. This is actually the darkest shade you'll use. So to do that, I would use a pencil just very, very lightly to create some darker value, which that means is that we're coloring smoothly in the same areas that are on this face. You're going to do that first, and then we're going to lighten up even more for these sort of medium value tones. When you're using value, things that are very light are called a tint, and things that are getting darker are called a shade. So these are all technically shades because we're adding values that are darker than the lightest values up here. So if you really pay attention, you can see there's an even lighter value here. I'm going to keep going and pushing and getting some value on that face. I think it's probably beneficial to look at the whole drawing and really try to make sure things are kind of smoothly blended, because value can be very tricky and sometimes look very off. So make sure you're working with pencil and take a break from your art and really don't be too hard on yourself. This is a tricky skill, and we'll talk about it more at our meeting. The last step in this example was just creating a background. I don't think that that's an important detail for this. I think the main focus of what we're doing is that you need to practice drawing features, so like facial features in a different point of view, and then also practicing using your pencil to create different shades by pressing harder or lighter. So this is a 2-week project because it is going to be quite lengthy. So please let me know if you have any questions, or we can also talk about this at our next Zoom meeting, which will be on December 16th. Again, let me know if you have any questions. I can't wait to see your 3-quarter pose.